Hello everyone, this is Nicole. I'm back with another video. This time it's on the CoronaVac SARS-CoV-2 vaccine or SARS-2 vaccine. Um, I put a link of this in the Black Brain Trust stream the other day, and I just wanted to go into more detail about this. I don't know if they have discussed it, but I enjoy their content and I suggest you go over to their channel and hit that subscribe button as well as the notification bells. They have a lot of good content as it relates to the ongoing pandemic that we're in, as well as a lot of tech, medical related science, and so forth. So shout out to them. So I mentioned this in the chat, the CoronaVac SARS vaccine, and I know a lot of people may feel some way, excuse me, about vaccines, but these are in process right now as far as the phase 1, phase 2 clinical trials. They're going to continue to happen whether you like it or not. There is a lot of money that's being put into developing therapies, but before you can get to therapy, one thing you can do that they are doing is developing and testing vaccines. So I like this layout where in this article they discuss the timeline of when things happen and also give more detail as to why things happen. So here, if you look on June 13th, 2020, Sinovac, which is the company that makes this CoronaVac vaccine, had positive preliminary results in phase 1, phase 2 clinical trials for the company's vaccine. They said that it had favorable immunogenicity and safety profiles, which are very important. The basis of doing this was, of course, developing a vaccine that is very favorable, but also has high efficacy, meaning that it works in many different groups of patients that would be getting the vaccine. They said that the neutralizing antibodies were detected 14 days after the vaccination with a 0-day and 14-day schedule. So the neutralizing antibody seroconversion rate is above 90%, which concludes the vaccine candidate can induce a positive immune response. So neutralizing antibody seroconversion is based on how many antibodies in your system are now showing that your immune system is working, is doing what it's supposed to do, trying to protect you. On May, when you go back, Sinovac mentioned, they announced that there was a transaction in which Avantech Capital and Vivo Capital invested $15 million in Sinovac Research and Development Company, also called Sinovac R&D, a wholly owned subsidiary of Sinovac, to further the development of an inactivated vaccine against COVID-19 that was named CoronaVac. Brazilian officials also announced Sinovac and Instituto Butantan, a leading Brazilian producer of immunobiological products. They signed a clinical development collaboration agreement to advance the clinical trials of CoronaVac. So they're moving forward, China and Brazil. We come down to CoronaVac SARS-CoV-2 vaccine news. They say here, most recently, July 21st, trials of CoronaVac, one of the vaccines that have advanced the furthest in testing in the world, will begin at the Clinical Hospital of Sao Paulo, which is in Brazil. That was according to the state's governor, Doria, who told everyone at a news conference. Sinovac is partnering with the Brazilian Public Health Research Center and the Butantan Institute on the trials. So that's the most recent news they have. But if you go back and see what happened in June, which is what I was saying earlier, let's go back a little bit further, even to April. April 16th, Dynavax Technologies Corporation and Sinovac Biotech Limited announced a collaboration that will combine Dynavax's CpG 1018, an adjuvant contained in the U.S. FDA-approved Hepaslav B vaccine, with Sinovac's chemically inactivated coronavirus vaccine candidate. And then we go here, there's different stages of the trials. One updated April 28th, another one May 12th, and the last updated July 2nd. So I have this actually in another window here, which is clinical trial of efficacy and safety of Sinovac's absorbed COVID-19 inactivated vaccine in healthcare professionals. So this is going to be for doctors and nurses. And the acronym they give is Provoskov for this particular trial. I always tell you to look at dates, when things are happening and when they are finishing, when they expect these things to be done. The start date is July 2020. Completion date won't be until September 2021. And if you looked at some of my previous videos, you'll know there was another trial talked about where the completion date was around November 2021. Estimated study completion date, with everything done and everything analyzed, October 2021. So I just hope that people are not so resistant to some of the information that's being presented about the clinical trials and the vaccines. If you want to know about what's going on, just look it up. I'll have the links to this particular clinical trial information and the article that I was just reading from and discussing in the description box for you to read at your leisure. I really hope that people would take more time reading. It's very important. I'm not going to go too far than that because it's kind of obvious, but the conspiracy theories and the ideas of what could be happening and what they might be doing and all, that's not necessary. Just look and see what they're doing. People put their names on everything because they want you to know what they're doing. Okay. So in this particular clinical trial, they talk about the arms of the trial or the groups of the trial. There's an experimental group, adult, these are the ages, and they give 2 doses, 0 day, 14 day. There's another one that's the elderly experimental group. These are the ages 60 years and above. They get the same type of treatment. You're going to get 0 day, 14 day treatment for all the groups. Placebo group was control, and a placebo group for the elderly. And then intervention and treatment is also given for each group. So you have 4 groups and 4 different types of intervention. For the first group, adults 18 to 59 years of age, they'll have the vaccine manufactured by Sinovac, which is called CoronaVac. For the second group, elderly, same thing. And for the other 2 placebo groups, you'll have the same. So the intervention or treatment is going to be the COVID-19 inactivated vaccine. And if you want to know about what that inactivated vaccine is, we can go to, I just typed in the word investigator, clicked a couple times, and we have the investigators here. You can contact Ricardo Palacios, MD, PhD. This is the number, this is his email address. He's in Brazil. Principal investigator, Gustavo Adolfo Sierra Romero, MD, PhD. This is the contact. This is another contact, Mauro Texiera. You have another contact, Sonia Raboni, Fabiano Ramos, Francisco Aoki, Eduardo Coelho, Luis Carlos Piero Jr. You have all these institutes, all these universities of these people. They give you the information. They tell you where they are and who sponsors them, excuse me, who sponsors them and everything. So they tell you, studies a US FDA regulated drug product? No. Is it using an FDA regulated device product? No. This is a new original vaccine that's being tested on these patients. Okay, so I hope that this is starting to clear things up for people and that they're starting to realize that reading is fundamental. I implore you to please read through some of these things, look up some of the clinical trials on your own, and go back. If we go back to this article, there are 2 clinical trials here. Please look through them and see. One is for prophylaxis or prevention of the infection. The other is looking at safety and immunogenicity. So that's dealing with antibody production on the patients. So you can look through these yourself. I hope that this was helpful. I hope that any other things I post out are really helpful to you. Please let me know what you think in the comment section. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. And I'll talk to you in the next video. Peace.